Welcome back to Burnout Break Room on our 5 minute break here today.
Where we have fun.
Taking a break from the grind. Indeed, we are.
So, a little background. We've decided we'd love to add not only something just like short that you can just listen to on your 15-minute break or, whatever you're doing to hide from actual work, but also just totally fun and mindless, where we don't think too hard and maybe have a couple of laughs. So we're going to try a little game today, or like a true confessions. I don't know. What would you call this, Caitlin?
Today, we're talking about small crimes against the grind. Some of these for me are definitely confessions. So I'm proud to consider myself as somewhat of a workplace rebel. And yeah, please feel free to take these ideas, but also just for the record, I don't suggest doing any of these.
Same. I am a little afraid of sharing some of these. I might be getting some emails, but listen, life is short and sometimes we take risks. And yeah, so we're about to actually spill the actual tea.
Absolutely. Today, we had the idea to do a segment called Small Crimes Against the Grind, where we're talking about things that we can do, even in small ways, to take back our freedom in the corporate space or even take back our own time and energy and be a little bit of a rebel.
I am so here for it. So, we're going to share stories about when we did little mini rebellions in our actual jobs. So, please don't come at me, and we're going to confess all the things.
Mm.
So, Caitlin, I feel like you should go first. So, what was a crime against the grind that you committed?
Well, the first one that I'll share is definitely not something new, and it makes me happy that this got into the public lexicon. But the idea of BTO, bathroom time off. So
Mhm.
if you strategize taking your bathroom breaks at work, you can actually increase your salary in the amount of time that you take off in order to do your bathroom breaks at work.
Oh, ooh, that's a life hack. That's a work hack right there. I love that. Yes. So my mini rebellion involved a secret meeting that I would have on my Outlook calendar that looked like an actual meeting. And it was strategically placed in my week with a strategically placed person. We called it the mess about, where we would look like we were having very serious discussions about very serious things. And
Mm.
usually just totally laughing about stupid things and or venting and or discovering very bananas videos on YouTube together.
Mm. Mm-hmm. That is next level sneakiness there. I love it. I love the energy of that, especially the joy. That's a good one. And I'll say that for my next one, I did something that was somewhat similar, where if I ever had a supervisor or a manager that was really hard to get a hold of, or if they kept canceling my one-on-ones, especially when I had like a lot of questions, I would schedule a meeting on behalf of another project or another person. And of course, it would end up being about, things that I needed answers to or things addressed.
Hmm. Oh yeah, very creative. I listen. I think we should be voted most creative at work. I'm voting us that.
Most creatively productive.
Ooh, I love it. I played a drinking game at work, True Confessions. It involved
Ooh.
zero like alcohol of any kind. It was definitely coffee, but I got stuck in a meeting with the same. Well, I'm afraid someone's going to hear this and know exactly what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to give anyone away. But I had an ally in the meeting. We'll put it that way. And this meeting was about an updated system that required like portable things that we needed to carry around.
Mm.
And those, Caitlin, were called dongles.
I already know where this is going.
I really appreciate that you laughed because how
Hmm.
can you hear that word and not die laughing? So I was in a meeting where this word was said every 2 seconds. And so I just kind of,
Hmm.
I think I texted the person sitting next to me and said, we're going to start a drinking game now. And every time that word is said, we have to take a drink of our coffee. And the problem was they said it all the time. And the really problem was I didn't know how to not laugh. How was nobody laughing, Caitlin? We're saying the word dongle 85 million times in a row and no one is laughing. That's when I
Hmm.
knew it was the wrong job for me. It was in that moment. I was like, if no one is laughing at the word dongle, I am in the wrong place. These are not my people.
Hmm.
So that was my drinking game.
Oh my gosh. I love the subtle, underhanded game within a meeting. That is nothing short of genius, Lindy. I love it. And it also reminds me of how many like jobs that I've had where we utilize dongles in conference rooms or other frequently
Oh,
used
yeah.
spaces. And part of my job was always making sure those things were set up. And the number of times I had to contact people saying, "You stole my dongle. Bring me back my dongle. That dongle is not yours." Oh, I honestly, I was at the height of my frustration of that issue. I was this close to placing on the door of the office, check your dongles at the door.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like, where are we in life when we can't laugh at a good penis joke? Like, that's when you know the job isn't for you, is that's when no one's laughing at the penis joke. It's time to move on, people. This is the most important thing you will learn in the burnout break room. When no
Yes.
one's laughing at the penis joke, it's time. So you're welcome. The bill is in the mail for that beautiful piece of wisdom that I just shared.
Yes. In fact, we'll be invoicing for this piece of leadership, thought leadership,
Mhm.
because everybody knows that to be an effective leader, you have to address the joke in order to for people to get their giggles out and then move on. So, yes, address the dongle directly, please.
Absolutely. If you want to get anywhere in your leadership, talk about the penises. All right, moving on.
Oh man.
Caitlin, what is
Hmm.
your little bit of rebellion?
So, first of all, I used to get in trouble in the office all the time for my catchphrases because they would catch on like wildfire. I have, as we've talked about in previous episodes, I have such an affinity for processes, efficiency, following things so that, we can all get things done. And the number of times that I encountered systems that worked against that logic or any apparent logic, my catchphrase would be, "Get out of here with that logic." And so whenever myself or my team would be talking about something and they would suggest us a solution, my sarcastic remark would be, "Get out of here with that logic." And it caught on
Oh
very,
no.
very quickly. It
Oh
got back
dear.
to
Oh dear.
yeah. So I that was definitely one of the ones that I got in trouble for. So I guess you could categorize that as generalized sarcasm.
I love it. How do people work without sarcasm? I don't understand it. I,
Mm, mm-hmm.
I that'll be another podcast right there. Speaking of which, mine is the same in nature. Trying to decide what I can share. I think I can share this. Here's the thing that I love about Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? Here's what it is. They are so able to use their voice.
Mm.
They're so good at using their voice. I love it. It's what I would have given to have been so able to use my voice at that age, which means there's a lot of HR involvement. A lot.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Listen, HR is there for a reason. It's important. Use it well. it got a little funny to me. I'm sorry. This is like, I just was in so many HR meetings, not about me, for the record. They weren't about me, but it was just like everyone was calling HR. Again, thank you. Use HR. They're there for a reason. So did kind of make a joke of it. True confessions.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime anyone said anything remotely like, do you know on The Office when Michael Scott says that's what she said?
Classic, iconic. Mm-hmm.
In similar situations, I would just say HR. So if someone was like, Lyndie, can I please touch your dongle? I'd be like, HR. And again, Caitlin, it caught on
Mm.
because it's effing hilarious and brilliant. And it's not that's what she said, right? Like,
Mm.
I did get to sit down and talk to about that. So yeah.
Which is so difficult to understand why, because it is such an like unsubtle call out. Oh, I can think of a lot of moments where I could have responded with HR.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yes, was I in a position of leadership where I shouldn't have been saying that? Probably. Did we
Mm,
need to have a few laughs in that particular time, in that particular setting? Absolutely. So,
I hear you. And honestly, like the number of times when I've been in leadership meetings where leadership are the ones saying those kinds of comments and somebody else makes the comment of, guys, HR's in the room and nobody bats an eye. What is that?
well, the great thing about it was like it also made it very clear that I'm very aware of anything that you're saying that could be like an HR violation. So as a leader, like just
Hmm.
check yourself before you say silly things in front of me. I was a therapist that worked with teenage boys. I had to always know the jokes 3 steps ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always dirty. And so I just had to know them. I had to think that way so that I wouldn't say something inadvertently in a
Mm,
therapy session and then lose them. Or especially
mm.
if I was leading a group. Like if you say the thing and you don't know you're saying it, you've lost the group.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, the number of times that we had word problems in junior high that involved the words pen is, and there's just this eruption of laughter. And my poor algebra teacher, shouts out Miss Nichols. She was an absolute godsend. What's so funny? I guess you guys just have so much energy today. But yeah, it's important to know.
Miss Nichols just needed to know she needed to have the mind that was 3 steps ahead. Like that's the solution, right? And then you don't lose the room.
Right,
Anyway,
exactly.
I'm sure she was lovely. Shout out to Miss Nichols. All right,
Tremendously.
your turn, Caitlin.
Oh, okay, a little bit more of a serious one for a minute, but I can definitely laugh about it now. So anytime we would have like a team meeting where leadership would start to ask like very probing questions or something that could later be mechanized, one of the things I love to ask, is this a safe space where I can give you honest feedback?
Mm-hmm.
Because then later inevitably, when that conversation comes up again and is mechanized against the
Mm-hmm.
team,
Mm-hmm.
then you can respond, I thought you said this was a safe space to talk
Mm-hmm.
about this for, real solutions. Mic drop.
That is just some good advice. If you're being asked for feedback from leadership, like check to make sure how this is going to be used against you later on because it probably
Mm-hmm.
will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's overtly or covertly, that leader remembers. Like if you've
Mm-hmm.
given them any kind of feedback, they'll remember it, especially if it's negative. So like you want to set the ground rules first. That's just solid advice. So here was one of my all-time lows in my time in leadership. So please do as I say, not as I do. Again, we were at a particularly stressful time in the work that we were doing. And so I decided to build some team energy and to help people get to know each other and have some fun as we were figuring out some scary things. We would do like a question a day or a week or something, where we'd
Mm,
start the day off with like, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? And I have ADHD, which means I get bored with the stupid questions or the silly questions, like the animal questions.
yes.
So
Yes.
I automatically go to the interesting questions, which are usually somewhat inappropriate for the work environment, if you couldn't tell already. There's a theme here. So I eventually was like, came up with the perfect question. And it went over great. People
Hmm.
loved it. It's the most we bonded ever. And the question was, who's most likely to be a serial killer?
Ooh.
And we're a bunch of therapists. So we're thinking this all the time. Let's be honest. Every therapist you've come across is asking the question at least once, is the person I'm talking to a serial killer? Because we're all obsessed with serial killers.
Mm.
We had a lot of fun. And then it got weird. And I won't say more about that, but I definitely ended up having to like share this with like several layers above me for weird reasons that I had like that. It's like, so I know you're like five people above me in the ranks. So yeah, I definitely like asked the question of people who's most likely to be a serial killer. And I never felt so small. And so like, yes, it was a whole thing. And so next time you do something at work, ask yourself, do I want the person five roles above me hearing about this? And that could just be a way of like, filtering some stuff, but also no regrets because it was really fun.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. And honestly, like you just gave me an idea for another question as well. And please feel free to take this one too. But especially with how much focus there is on cybersecurity, the number of people that I've like been on teams with that are either just like really afraid of technology or like super sensitive to it. I feel like another version of that game is like who clicked on the phishing email.
Yeah.
So every time a new round of training comes out, it's like, all right, who clicked the button?
So true. Who does click the phishing? Like, come on, people.
Hmm.
Every year we get the same training. I will end with one of my most favorite work moments ever was when I got a ransom note, and this was like way back in the day, because someone had kidnapped this guy, our
Dwight.
good friend Dwight. He got kidnapped.
Oh.
I should say, I realized this is a podcast. I was just showing my bobblehead of Dwight from The Office. He was kidnapped and taken from my desk. So it was really traumatic and also a lot of fun. I had to go bring someone coffee in order to get Dwight back. He was in the refrigerator.
That is hilarious. I can totally just imagine the communication back and forth as well. If you ever want to see Dwight again, bring me a double macchiato.
I wish they were that creative with it.
It also reminds me of the number of times when my stapler was stolen. And honestly, it's just, in my opinion, it's another reason for going more paperless because, well, we wouldn't need staples if we didn't print absolutely everything.
There you
So
go.
there's my philosophy on that. And I would have to say for my last one, this is my personal favorite for so many reasons, and I'm sure you'll see why in a moment. But microfeminism in the workplace.
Ooh.
So the number of times that I have gone into a meeting and gotten the response like, "Oh, we don't need any notes for this meeting," or "I've got enough coffee, thank you."
Ugh. Ugh.
Yes.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wretched,
Mm-hmm.
wretched. So any opportunity for microfeminisms, I leap at, whether it's putting all the women in an email first or assuming that generalized occupations like doctor, fireman, fill in the blank, responding with, oh, how did you meet her? Any any and all of the above are my absolute favorites, especially when it checks people's assumptions of like, oh, I didn't say they were a woman. Oh, you didn't say who they were at all. Slow blink.
Yeah, you always got to follow with the slow blink. See
Hmm.
how long it takes. Yeah. Yeah. The amount of times I had to say to someone, I haven't been a girl for a lot of years now is obnoxious to me.
Yeah, ooh, a wave of rage
Uh-huh.
that just washed over me in that moment. And also like people not realizing the demeaning nature of the term girl in a professional workspace absolutely baffles me. And specifically like the number of times that I personally have been referred to as the white girl in an office like is unbelievable. But yeah, I could not agree with you more there.
Interesting. I have
And
more questions about that.
but yeah, like the number of times that I want to respond in addressing a grown man as boy and then see how that goes down.
Well, especially when I'm your boss. Like, don't
Hmm.
call me girl when I'm your fucking boss. I said fucking. When I'm your boss. Like, come on, people. Get it together. Get it together. Also, though, the same, like, I have she, her pronouns. The amount of angst I have seen over people quote unquote having to use pronouns and how like inconveniencing it is to them and like like I remember one time I just used the word them to indicate the plural of something
Hmm.
and someone was like, "Oh my god, are they them?" and like freaking out yeah, it's like not that I know of, but also whoa.
Yeah, this is not the moment for a meltdown, friend. No. This does not justify that reaction.
Of all the things to freak out about, this is not the one. This ain't it.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will never understand the level of angst around not knowing what to do in that situation. Like if you just ask, people will tell you, and that's all there is to it.
And then that's it. And then we move on with our lives. Also, white girl tears. I just gotta say,
Mm,
I'm done with white girl tears. And I'm a
mm-hmm.
white girl and I have tears and I just call myself girl. But so there's a lot of hypocrisy I'm just gonna name in this whole thing. But like the amount of feelings I had to sit with around like pronouns and when sometimes we say things that are just not things that we should say. And then it's okay to be like, yeah, I screwed up there. I'm sorry.
Mm,
I'll do some work and then let's move on.
right, right.
I was just like, I'm about to be canceled, I think, because of all this stuff that I'm talking about. I'm gonna get so many emails. But
No, but
listen,
you're absolutely right. Even when we find ourselves in those spaces and if we, take a wrong step or, misspeak somewhere, there still is so much value in taking a pause and saying, "I'm so sorry. I should not have said that. That is my fault. I will do better."
mhm,
And guess what? As a result, everybody can move on.
yes, including the people that you've hurt with your actions, right? Like by making a production of it, you end up hurting the person more
Mm-hmm.
and taking up a lot of time. Anyway, so yeah, this is why I work for myself now because I have strong opinions and I like sharing them. The end.
Same here. Same here. And then just an extra one for the road. When we were wearing as well, especially for anyone that wants to wear a face mask in the office, The pure liberation, Lindy, that I got from being able to mouth responses behind my mask that I could
Yes.
not say out loud. It was like a constant therapy.
Yes. Yes. Well, yes. Here's the thing about the mask that I didn't even realize when I had it was when I wore a mask, I didn't have to unmask.
Mm,
So
that's tea.
there's a thing that I do like on Zoom meetings in actual face-to-face IRL situations where I'm like I have my nice girl face on and I'm using girl intentionally there where I smile and I nod and I don't do my resting bitch face because that scares everyone. Um, but when I'm wearing a mask, I can have my resting bitch face because that's just my face, people. It's just my face. And that is a very liberating feeling.
Absolutely. The number of times I've had conversations with people, mostly men in the workplace, but the number of conversations I've had where there's a criticism specifically of a female leader who, is very direct and is very results oriented and specifically either saying or alluding to the fact that she has a resting bitch face and me asking the simple question of how does that take away from her job? And would you be saying that if she were a man?
Reach.
Mm-hmm.
Reach. I have
Mm-hmm.
been told to smile by women,
Ugh.
right? Yeah. Think about that
Ew.
one for a second. A
Mm-hmm.
long time ago, I would educate men on why you shouldn't tell women to smile. And if you don't know and you're listening, please just look it up. It's a whole thing. It's now a
Mm-hmm.
mission in life every time I sit them down, if they're worth my time, and I say, this is why I'm not smiling for you right now. And this is why it's really problematic for you to say that. But when it's a woman, oof, yeah.
Mm. Big pick me behavior. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I hear something along those lines, I have to stop myself from responding with, "Oh, did he pick you, honey?" Oh dear.
Well, I think I've successfully gotten myself banned from most professional workspaces. And listen, I'm here for it.
Absolutely. If I mean, life is not life is just too short to not take risks, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Caitlin, it has been a pleasure. And yeah, we have our first short, and hopefully people enjoy in good health.
Absolutely. And you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads, editsandgreen.com for all of the fun things. I've got creative quizzes. And of course, you can also shoot me an email and we can talk about fun things as well. And for Lindy, when she's not in the break room,
You can find me at LinkedIn, lindylairimore.com, and I'm also on Instagram and Threads. And Caitlin, you bring a good point on our burnout break room pages, like on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Definitely send us in some examples of some mini rebellions that you've done at work. We'd love to hear them.
yes, while we may not advocate for you to take these exact same steps,
Please don't.
right. Please do take opportunities to advocate for yourself and to hold your own space to whether that means preventing burnout or just maintaining your own mental health in the workplace. Stay safe, friends.